Hey guys! Hey! Welcome back to my channel. So today is day one of Mental Health Awareness Week 2016. I'm so excited that this month is finally here. I have been waiting since January to be able to participate in this just community event. This is something that's really close to my heart, and today I'm going to share my personal story about my struggle with depression and anxiety. I used to be really embarrassed to tell this story, but when I really got involved in the fitness community, it allowed me to see how many other people were struggling, had struggled with something really similar to what I had gone through. And it really opened my eyes to show that sharing and being vulnerable and allowing yourself to be transparent really allows others to relate to you and really allows others to help themselves through the message that you're talking about. I personally was inspired to start working on myself and working towards recovery through a few women that I started following on Instagram. I just really admired what they were doing and how they were approaching life and how they were approaching fitness and their just general excitement about life in general. And I said to myself, that's how I want to be. That's how I want to live and act and speak like and laugh. And I knew that I had been there before, and I knew I could get back there once again. And that really was the start of my personal journey. So the first time I ever can remember the feeling of depression, which I didn't know that was what I was feeling at the time, but thinking back now in hindsight, it was around the transition of leaving college and going into the real world. I have always been an excellent student, always great at following rules, listening to authority, following structure. That was where I thrived. After college ended, it was kind of a little bit stressful for me going into this world where I had to create my own structure. I had the freedom to create what I wanted in my life, but at the same time was being told by society, this is how successful people should run their lives and live their lives. So I felt this ongoing battle quite a bit. Right out of my registered dietitian internship, after I passed my exam, got my RD certification, I got what I thought was my dream job, which was working for this gorgeous health club. And basically I was the registered dietitian there, I was personal training there, and it was beautiful. The people I worked with were awesome, and I just went all in, head first, dove right in. Which was great, but I didn't know there was such a thing as burning yourself out. I thought if that hour was open in my day, I could book it. I could do something in that hour. I don't need to relax. I don't need time to just decompress and de-stress and wind down. I didn't know that I needed that. After about 1.5 years of working that intensely, at the same time dealing with pretty serious family issues that weren't really in my control, but I was definitely living in them. So the stress level at home was really high, as well as the stress level at work, just from the pure fact that I was working myself from both ends of the wick. So after a few months of this, I realized, like, you're eating way more than you've ever eaten before. Fitness, nutrition, working out, eating healthy foods were always something I loved. That's why I got into this field. And I always prided myself on the fact that I was healthy, that I looked fit, that I felt good. I always had great energy. And I noticed that I was just eating, sometimes for the sake of eating. I would not get full. I would eat a full meal, and then I would go and eat whatever the fuck I wanted. That would include cookies and cake and nuts and trail mix and cereal, and like, it was never ending. I remember the first time I realized I had binged. I think I ate like a few peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and I tracked it in my fitness pal, and I was like, oh my god, you just ate half of your day's calories in like 20 minutes. So I immediately felt shame and guilt and just like, I mean, for the reasons like, why did you do that? Now you feel bloated and uncomfortable and really lethargic. But because I was a registered dietitian and a personal trainer, helping other people get healthy, helping other people deal with these bad habits, and I could not follow them myself, I was so embarrassed. There was no way I was going to tell anyone what was happening. All I knew was I could not control my hunger. All I knew was I could not fill this hunger that was within me. I didn't know what else to do or how to deal with it. So I didn't tell anyone. I kind of ignored it, and I gave into it many, many times. And I didn't identify the source. So there was the struggle with the binge eating. But before that, I think I started to feel bouts of depression. I remember vividly thinking one day after training a client, driving home in my car, like, I feel gray. I feel inside, outside of my body, like there's no color, there's no life. I feel just dead of winter. I am so indifferent about what I want to do on a day-to-day basis and in life. I'm indifferent about people in my life who I should care about, and I found all I wanted to do was go home and sleep all the time. No matter what time of day it was, I was exhausted. I pulled away. I didn't want to hang out with my friends. All I wanted to do was be alone and kind of just retreat into myself, into my room. The only real like semblance of mood boost was thinking about eating, and then those first couple bites of eating. After that, everything went numb. So during that time period, I gained about 25 to 30 pounds within, I guess that was like an 8-month period of time. After I realized what was happening, after I realized like you're not yourself, you're definitely in lower mood, the way that you're eating is not normal, the way that you're thinking about food all the time is not how it's supposed to be. So, like I said, I never shared this with anyone. I never really shared it with my best friends to the fullest extent. I never shared it with my family members. I never shared it with the person I was in a relationship at the time. And it really ate away at me little by little to the point where I was a shell of the person I once was, and I was a shell of the person who I am now. My confidence was really low. I had really low self-esteem. I was constantly obsessed with the fact that I had gained so much weight and that I needed to wear baggy clothes. I stopped training. I just was so indifferent. I felt like nothing would help. I felt like nothing would get me to feel any better. It wasn't even worth it to try. I just felt so tired. I didn't even want to put in the energy into helping myself some days. Yeah, every day was a struggle. Every day was a struggle. It was hard. Obviously, I never went to a doctor or got diagnosed, and I was never put on any kind of medication. And I look at this as a good thing because it led me to the path that I'm on now, and it led me to figuring out my own way of coping and dealing and recovering myself. I don't know a lot about medication for mental illness, to be honest. It seems like there is a place for it for certain people, and it seems like it hurts some people more than it helps. My personal experience didn't involve medication, so I am happy that I never went on it. Maybe it would have taken me a lot shorter amount of time. Maybe it would have expedited the process if I had gone on medication and also combined training with that, but you know what? It is what it is, and you can't go back. So from the start of having these issues, I dealt with that on and off, yo-yoing, going up and down for, I guess, the better part of 4 years. Sounds like a long time when I say it out loud. but not every moment was extreme, and I will say that I did not ever get to the point where I had suicidal ideation.
You're broken down and tired.
So I say my road to recovery started when I accepted and realized that my solution didn't lie within my physical, aesthetic body. I was always trying to fix how I looked and focus on the nutrition part and work out just to make myself lose weight. And I realized after a while that that wasn't enough to get me out of bed on those mornings where all I wanted to do was roll over and put the blanket over my head. I needed a really strong why to get myself mentally back to the place that I knew I could be. So a really powerful thing that also ignited my recovery and kept me going was realizing that I had the power in my mind to choose death or life. I had the power every day to choose, am I going to stay in bed and play into my exhaustion? Am I going to binge on this food so it's going to make me feel even worse tomorrow? Am I going to not work out today? Basically choosing to feel indifferent and choosing not to take action. Decision to choose life, which was maybe pushing myself a little bit just to get to the place so that I could do the things that I know so much help my mind and my body. And for me, that was really empowering because I could decide, sometimes moment to moment, or hour by hour, or day by day, and then week by week, how I wanted to feel and what actions I needed to take to feel that way, to get there. And that was one of the biggest starts to my entire recovery process. After I realized that, I immediately knew that training, that moving my body, sweating and breathing heavy and challenging myself always made me feel awesome. Like, I remember one time after I worked out at one of the first gyms I ever worked at, one of my clients came up to me and she was like, "Hey, how are you?" And I just had this like beaming look on my face and I was just like, "I am awesome. Like, how are you?" And she goes, "Are you in love?" And I was like, "No." She's like, "You're acting like you're in love, like you're giddy." I'm like, "I just worked out. I'm endorphin high, like I can't even tell you." Which is probably the same thing brain chemical-wise, is the effect that you get when you are in love. But anyway, I was so elated and I was just so excited. And I just felt awesome. I just felt like I could take on the world and I knew that I could get there. I knew that exercise, physical movement, could help my mind get to that just level. It was just a little bit higher, that was just a little bit better, where things felt a little bit lighter. And I could use exercise to help spark my day and spark my mind into pushing forward and really all the other things that I needed to do. And it really helped me make some big decisions. It really helped me, give me the courage to make some big decisions, things that were necessary for me to do in order to keep this whole path going. So I think I told you that I was unhappy with the job that I was doing. I was also unhappy with my living situation. And I also really wanted to travel the world more. After a few months of doing this, I was able to make that stuff happen. I was able to quit my job and I went traveling for a while. I was able to move out of my parents' house and move into a house in a really awesome town with some really great friends. At another point in my life, I was able to move into New York City and start working here. So it played such an integral role in my recovery that I am so empowered and passionate on helping other women who are going through or have suffered through things that are similar to my story, help them get that feeling, help them become empowered by challenging and pushing themselves in the gym. When you challenge yourself in the gym and you push through pain and you move weight that you never even thought that you could do, if you accomplish an exercise that you never even envisioned, where you started out saying, "There's no effing way that I can do that," and then you do it, it is so empowering to your soul that if you come across a situation in life that's painful, that is a challenge, that you look at and you say, "There's no way I can do it," subconsciously something happens in your mind where you're like, yeah, I can. It's like training for life. It's seriously training to take on challenges and conquer them one day at a time, so that when you come across big mountains or really, really scary things in life that you just don't even understand how you're going to get through them, the confidence that you build just from doing that in the gym really just translates into your life. It's one of the most empowering things that I've ever experienced and could ever share with another human being. Every time I see one of my clients, my one-on-one training clients in the gym, have that moment where they are saying these words to me, I just know that they've gotten it and they will be able to do this for themselves for life, regardless if I'm by their side or not. They will be able to do it. Same thing with my online fitness and empowerment coaching clients. Every time that they hit that point, and they're doing it by themselves, I'm just there coaching them through email and through online, but they're in the gym, they're doing the work, they're making the choices. They realize, wow, I was able to do something I never thought I could do. What else in my life could I do that with? So it just gives me the chills. It gets me so excited. I think you can probably tell what the theme of my Mental Health Awareness Week will probably be, but it's how exercise affects the brain and how it positively impacts mental health, especially depression and anxiety. So this really inspired me to learn more about how that happens, what exactly happens in your brain when you exercise, and why you feel so good, and how big of an impact does it actually have on people that are suffering from seriously, clinically diagnosed depression and anxiety. As for today, I would really love for you to comment below if you are feeling courageous enough to share your story, if you can relate in any way to my story and what I went through in any aspect. I would love to hear from you. Are there more questions I can answer for you guys? But I would love to hear from you, so please comment below. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. And if you would like to be notified every time that I post a new video on YouTube, hit subscribe. It's free. It's just gonna let you know when I post new content. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video today. I hope that you got something really helpful out of it, and I will see you soon. Bye.
And we'll